Canadian terrorist attack inspired by Gaza and wokeism. The Edmonton City Hall in Canada was the scene of a shocking terrorist attack on January 23rd, perpetuated by 28-year-old Bezhani Sarvar, who now faces 6 charges, including arson and the use of a firearm to commit an offense. The attack, which involved the firing of shots and the detonation of a Molotov cocktail, caused significant damage to the building and led to its indefinite closure for repairs. Sarvar, a employee of the Canadian Corps of Commissioners, which is like kind of a like almost like security guards, carried out this attack alone, according to Edmonton Police Service Chief Dale McPhee, who noted that Sarvar was, quote, shooting randomly and assured the public no further safety concerns. So, meaning like, he acted alone, we're not expecting any more attacks, like we apprehended him, we're good now, that kind of thing. In a video posted on social media, Sarvar cited concerns in the ongoing war in Gaza and then wokeism as inspirations for his actions, and expressing his motivation as including societal issues, including corruption, inflation, and the housing crisis. This incident has left the community in shock, especially given the presence of officials, journalists, and a class of first graders inside the city hall during the attack, all of whom were safely evacuated without casualties, injuries, or fatalities. So, I wanted to cover this story for a bunch of different reasons. So, okay, just to recap, on January 23rd, there was this attack on the Edmonton City Hall. And I want to talk about this for a couple of reasons. I want to talk about this in terms of the media response, and I want to talk both left and right, because that's actually one of the things I found most interesting about this attack. And then also, we're not going to play his manifesto like on this stream, because I think that'd be extremely irresponsible to do so. And also, we'd probably get nuked off this platform. But I think it would be good to comment on it, because I sent it to Armin to watch outside of the stream. So first things first, I find it absolutely bizarre that Canadian media is not calling this a terrorist attack. They are only calling it a shooting.
Why?
They are burying the story.
They have the manifesto?
Exactly. I'm like, a terrorist attack by definition is one that's like motivated by political ideology. This man literally released a video outlining his manifesto before he did it.
Here.
No, Damon is saying you're joking, right? Go look this up. Go look up news stories. Just look up Edmonton attack. You will see that it's constantly. No, Armin, we shouldn't play that.
I'm not going to play it. It's muted. So I'm just going to show this is that okay? I'm just going to play
this is
without
literally
audio.
what he's wearing so this was filmed right before he carried out the attack, because it's literally what he was wearing as he carried out the attack, you can see on video.
Yeah, this is the video of him explaining why he's doing what he's doing right before he does the attack. This is his manifesto, which I'm not going to play. Actually, the actual video is a lot longer than this, but he does explain in detail what he's doing. So how is it possible that they're not calling it a terrorist attack when he clearly recorded himself?
So Armin, when I see stuff like that, because when I first got involved in like the ex-Muslim space and kind of the issues we talked about, like people will always talk about like the Islamophilic left or the Islamophilic media. And I was like, always felt like, that seems kind of overblown. Like, what are you talking about? And then I see instances like this, and I think it's absolutely insane. They're only referring to it as a shooting. I'm like, why are you only referring to it as a shooting? My understanding is that Trudeau has not commented on this yet.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy to me.
Why?
Is it only because no one was injured? Was it only because no one was killed? I don't understand. Why would you not comment on this? Because if anyone had been killed, there was a class of first graders. They were touring Edmonton City Hall when he conducted this. This could have been one of the deadliest domestic attacks in Canadian history. But because there was another commissioner, aka like a security guard guy, who tackled and apprehended this guy while he was unarmed, and this guy had a machine gun. I don't know firearms. I don't know if it was a machine gun or automatic rifle, whatever. It was a giant freaking gun. Well, he has what looks like almost like a Kalashnikov. Again, I don't know firearms. Some commissionaire tackles him while he himself is unarmed and stops this attack, and no one was injured, let alone there were no one who was killed. But this is not being covered as that kind of attack, even though he literally released his political motivating factors onto YouTube before he did this. They're like, oh no, it was just a shooting in Edmonton City Hall. And so that is so weird to me. So then here's what happened next. Then right-wing media picks it up. And they start being like, why are you guys burying the story? Why are you not talking about this as it is? Why are you only calling it a shooting? We need to talk about this. And then right-leaning media is then only covering the fact that he cites genocide in Gaza as a motivating factor to do this. And then talking about how he's like speaking Arabic in the video.
He doesn't speak. Oh, he speaks mostly Persian.
He speaks mostly Persian in the video.
He has like a little bit Arabic
phrases. He's saying like "Assalamu alaikum," "Inshallah," "My mission will be successful." What the F his mission is supposed to accomplish is absolutely beyond me. It doesn't make any sense. But obviously, to undertake this kind of thing, you have to not be thinking clearly. So that's just a given that's not going to make sense. But. And then, that pissed me off. They're like, oh yeah, he's speaking Arabic and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And so now this is why you get to be painted as fear mongering, because he just used like 2 Islamic phrases, but mostly he's speaking Persian in the video.
Yes.
Although he doesn't sound like he's Iranian.
Dari version.
Yeah. He doesn't speak
like an Afghani version of Persian.
He sounds
like Dari.
Because he doesn't speak Persian the way I know all Persians to speak Persian. I'm like, oh, I'm assuming you're Afghan. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Dari is an Afghan dialect of Persian or Farsi. So that's what he's doing.
So this guy, I sent you his manifesto, or what was available for me to find, because what I found online was itself edited. So again, I don't even have the full video available to me, because it's been removed from most platforms. But what I found was it was a weird amalgamation of like right-wing talking points and left-wing talking points.
Yeah. He was like, oh, I hate wokeism, and then proceeds to say woke stuff. Like, wait, but you're saying the woke thing. You're saying woke narratives.
And
it was so confusing.
It was very confusing, because then he goes on to talk about like, we need to join together to be pro-human, and I'm not a monster that wants to go kill women and children. Meanwhile, he goes to attack a building that contains both women and children. And then he basically says that we need to fight back against multiculturalism, and that myself as an immigrant, we immigrants need to understand that we are being manipulated and we are just pawns of a man-made crisis. We need to fight back against high inflation. We need to fight back against like housing crisis and like oil prices, like all of this stuff. And so on the one hand, when right-wing media is the only media to pick this up, and they're just talking about, oh yeah, he was motivated by the cause for Gaza, and so now this is Islamic Jihad globalized, the Intifada is now globalized. I was
he's one of you guys.
That's also very what's the word I'm looking for? Improper framing. Because he talks about way more.
Deceptive.
Oh, thank you. It's very deceptive, and it's very misleading, because he talks about like this wokeism and multiculturalism as a motivating factor for why he was undertaking his quote unquote mission. Again, what his mission is and what it's supposed to accomplish, I have no understanding of. But Armin, so now that I explained some background, please give me your opinion.
So he's an Afghan Canadian who is against multiculturalism. Right? Who's anti-woke, and who's also doing this in support of people in Gaza. Okay, and seems to be not religiously motivated, even though he does at the end say his goodbyes Islamically, but doesn't seem to have been having any Islamic motivations. In fact, it seems like by being anti-multiculturalism, he's against maybe Islam also reaching Canada. He's an Afghan that is against Islam reaching Canada while saying goodbye at the end Islamically.
It makes no sense.
He's like a mess. I don't know what to make of this guy. He's like a woke right-leaning person. He's like a woke right-leaning non-Islamic person that uses Islamic language. That's what he is. He's like a mess.
Maybe he's Islamic. We don't know. So in the video that I sent you, Armin,
he doesn't have maybe he is, but none of his manifesto had Islamic. Did you see anything in his manifesto that has Islamic motivations other than the goodbyes at the end?
Does insane inshallah count? Like, that's a lot of just
no.
That's a lot of people. How people just say like hopefully, depending on your culture. How they say like maybe.
You know
what I mean?
He's doing terrorist activity against inflation. Also, inflation was a big part of his manifesto.
Yeah,
I don't know how that. I don't know how that's supposed to help.
A lot of the coverage was on both sides was completely dishonest. And
this is why you come here, guys, because the right-leaning people and the left-leaning people are not covering this accurately. You come here for a more honest coverage. That's why Atheist Republic is there for you guys.
Hey, it's weird, but then in the video that I sent you, Armin, in portions of it, he's speaking Persian, and I could understand a few words, and I could tell.
You're gonna ask me what it was.
But did you remember what he said?
No, I'm going to listen to that part again while you...
Because he...
Read the live chats where I'll listen to the Persian part order.
Okay. Let's see what we have here. Oh, do you mind if I go straight to super chats? Well, first of all, Secular Sakai is saying, hello, fellow heathens. Hello, Sakai. Always good to see you, my friend. Proud Mutard is saying, this guy was all over the place in his manifesto. He's got both right and left points, included Islamic greetings, but religion wasn't the driving force. I don't necessarily think religion was the driving force. I don't think so. And Happy Kafir is saying, I'm Canadian and hadn't heard about this. Exactly. In Canada, a class of first graders was almost shot up, and Canadians haven't even heard about this yet. How this is not framed as a terrorist attack is so weird to me. It's so weird to me. Just because it wasn't successful, which we don't want them to be successful, does not mean that it does not fit that description. Again, he's saying he's crazy but not religiously motivated, and his actions will bring more hate towards Muslims. Fortunately, probably just because he was saying like Assalamu alaikum and inshallah, but mostly he's speaking Dari. I believe it's Dari, just given the fact that he doesn't sound Iranian in the way that he talks. His accent was totally wrong. And Numan gave us a super chat. Thank you, Numan, saying my atheist family has grown so much. Love you all. We love you too, Numan.
Oh, thank you.
For being here. Thank you for the super chat.
Right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let me just translate word by word.
Okay.
He's like, don't bully people. Don't cause people harm. Do good. Always do good. Don't shed blood. Don't harm young people and some other people that I couldn't understand. Always fight for something. I don't know, fight for victory or for what? I don't know what he was wants us to fight for. Always keep your head high. Always try hard to have a good life. I think he just needs mental support. I think this guy just needs some help. I don't. Oh my God, this is them. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so a
Okay. Yeah,
commissioner stopped that without being armed himself. So, really, that
that's crazy.
person, that commissioner who stopped this man, like, deserves a lot of praise because I cannot
Yeah,
imagine, like, just tackling that with no weapons yourself.
he asked people not to shed blood right before he went and tried to shed blood. Doesn't make any sense. This person, that makes no sense. All right, we got some super chats, more super chats. Oh, one is,
Thanks
I
for the
think,
translation, by the
Muslim.
way, Armin.
Yeah, no
Uh,
worries.
and I want to just say that I'm proud of myself for having the knowledge to understand that
Oh yeah.
recognize that it's Persian, but know that he's not Iranian.
Yes. Yes. By the way, Susanna, I don't know. Susanna was like, okay, I listened to this. First of all, I'm Canadian. I had no idea that this happened. Susanna, who's not Canadian, figured this out. This was like not being covered, and Susanna picked it up. So congrats to Susanna. And then she went and found the manifesto, listened to it, and was like, oh yeah, this guy is speaking Persian, but he's not Iranian. I mean, the level of deep knowledge that Susanna has is, is amazing. This is why it's so great that we have her here. All right. So there was another super chat. I think this is for me to answer.
Oh, yeah. Go for it. Gasian
Yeah.
American. Thank you,
Ga-
Gasian, saying, how can capitalism defend against monopolies and copyright spamming? This is a good.
Well, I mean, capitalism is not against regulation. I think a lot of people confuse capitalism with laws of fair. We have different forms of capitalism. The form of capitalism that I support is regulated capitalism. And one of the most important principles that capitalism regulates against is the formation of monopolies. So, how do we defend against that? Through regulation, through antitrust regulations, for example, right? And copyright spamming, again, how do you defend against that? Through regulation. Capitalism is not against regulation. That's anarchism. Or maybe like anarcho-capitalists and maybe laissez-faire capitalists, they are against regulation. The people who like capitalism, but like a form of maybe more like a Scandinavian form of capitalism, they're more in favor of having a free market, having less involvement of the government, but also having regulations when it makes sense. So there's the answer. Thank you so much, Gay Asian American. Okay, so this one, do you want to read the rest?
Lok Shakshi, thank you for the super chat. Saying you are great, but can't win under the atheist banner. Uh I don't completely understand what you mean by win. But regardless, we began as a community for atheists around the world, and that's how we remain.
Yes. I mean, the reason why you think we can't win under the atheist banner is why we need the atheist banner, because we live in a world where everybody seems to be able to win with their communities except atheists, right? The Christians win with their communities, Muslims win with their communities, Hindus win with their communities. Atheists are so looked down upon that their communities are not taken seriously, and they have a harder time organizing, and that's why we need to remain an atheist organization. Well, that's exactly because of the point you're making. All right.
Adam Staples gave another super chat. Thank you, saying I tried sharing 3 sites on super chat, but YouTube didn't let me. Yeah, you're not allowed to share links unless you're a mod. About the Hamas massacre, October 7th map, October 7th. So I shared with Armin on X. The October 7th denialism is real. Yep, we are watching
Yep.
it in real time.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.